So it seems to me that for a comprehensive picture of experience or of being, you have to use two domains of analysis, and one is the scientific domain, and the other is fundamentally the moral domain. And the moral domain for me isn't, I'm not really saying precisely that the moral domain is the difference between right and wrong, although I think that that's part of it. The moral domain is actually a broader domain of questions, which is, well, how should you act? Because knowing what is, from a scientific perspective, does not give you a clear understanding of how you should progress through life. And because we're embodied creatures, and because we move, and because we're capable of transforming the world, both with our consciousness and our communication and our actions, there's no escaping the problem of how you should act. And then it's an even more complicated problem, because it's not only how you should act because of your limitations and your skills, but how you should act given that there's all these other creatures wandering around that are asking the same questions and trying to act just like you are. So other human beings, and then of course the fact of the world, the non-human, the living non-human world as well, which is something that you have to have a relationship with. And you can't just ignore those questions because they're not easily answered by the mechanisms of empirical science. It leaves people bereft. And when Nietzsche talked about the death of God, I mean, what he meant in some sense was that the claims of science are sufficiently radical so that it's easy to take them to mean that the sort of landscape of stories that constitute our archaic cultures are invalid. Now, it's a complicated problem, because it isn't at all clear to me that the landscape of stories that make up our cultural past are in fact scientific descriptions, and I don't think they ever were. And the fact that the manner in which they describe the world seems to contradict what we understand, say, from cosmology, to me it's basically irrelevant, because they're not dealing with the same problem. But you can see how it has been easy for people to become philosophically confused, because it's not self-evident that you may need more than one kind of truth to live. It's not even self-evident that there is more than one kind of truth. You know, but why we assume that there would only be one kind of truth is a mystery in and of itself. It seems to me that it's related somehow to the push in humanity for a form of monotheism, you know, or a totality of one theory governs all.